Hey, happy Friday. This week, well, first of all, this week my neon sign is taking a nap. But also Samsung's entire lineup for the next few months has leaked. Snapdragon chips for Windows laptops are here and they're actually really good. And also RISC-V chips are coming to laptops sooner than we thought. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video was sponsored by Brilliant. Okay, we start the week with a series of massive leaks from Samsung. First, the company's next Unpacked event is now leaked to be held on the 10th of July in Paris. There seems to be some connection with the Paris Olympics, which lines up with the fact that they've also just released a bunch of related accessories. We already knew that at this event we could expect the Fold and the Flip 6 with only minor changes, but we also have a lot of new device leaks too. To start with, @TimTom0 on Twitter showed us images of Samsung's upcoming Watch Ultra in two colors, and the orange accents make it pretty clear that they're gunning for the Apple Watch Ultra. In my opinion, this square-circle design combination leads to bezels that are just way too thick, but okay. And 91 Mobile claims that the price will be around $700 or $100 less than Apple's Ultra watch. If the Samsung one can function as a dive computer just like the Apple and the Huawei versions of this model, then I might actually be interested. TimTom then also leaked an image of the Galaxy Ring charging case, and it looks pretty nice, kind of like an earbuds case. Fun fact, Samsung has recently sued Aura, the makers of the popular Aura ring that kickstarted the smart ring race, and they've done so as a preemptive move because Aura in the past has been extremely trigger happy with suing competing ring makers like Ultrahuman, Ringcon, Circular, and so on for some things that sound like pretty basic patents. So I guess Samsung expected to be sued by Aura as soon as their product came out, so instead they sued Aura in advance. Kinda smart. It's the war of the rings, and I bet that all of Aura's competitors are hoping that Samsung will set a really nice precedent for them. Also, just a few hours ago, Technica Cross has leaked what the Galaxy Buds 3 will look like, and I gotta say, I like the transparency on the top so you can see if the buds are in the case. Anyway, the famous leaker Ice Universe also revealed details of the Galaxy Z Fold 6 Slim this week. This will potentially be exclusive to China, where it will be called the W25, and it will be lighter, thinner, and larger than the regular Fold 6, and it will launch in October, although it will not support an S Pen. Yeah, too bad about the China exclusivity if that becomes real, but overall a pretty big season for Samsung. New foldables, a new ring, new watches, everything. Pretty big. And they will need to keep things exciting because their competitor, Motorola, has already announced that they're launching their next foldable phone next week already, specifically to beat Samsung to the punch. And the leaks there have revealed that Motorola will get a telephoto camera, better water resistance, and more. Yeah, a competition. And talking of competition, the first laptops with the new Snapdragon X series chips have finally launched, and they seem to be actually really good. With an asterisk. So notice that I don't actually have a Snapdragon laptop just yet, despite 3 companies having already promised to ship me one, and almost all of the reviewers either just got their review units a couple of days ago, or they bought them themselves as regular consumers. So my best guess is that with the Windows recall feature actually being recalled, Microsoft and the various laptop makers were trying to figure out whether they can push a new update so that the feature is actually ready for the reviewers, so that when all the big reviewers make their reviews, the headlining feature is actually working as expected. But that didn't happen, so everything is chaotic and we don't have a whole lot of big reviews. Anyway, all of the early opinions that I have found imply that the Snapdragon chips are actually the real deal. Performance is excellent and it trades blows with the Apple M3. The new emulation system called Prism is finally really good, barely causing a performance hit, and battery life is supposedly pretty good too. Now, the tech chat reports that some apps like the Epic Game Store, for example, didn't launch on his machine at all, and he's also shown off a few graphical glitches, and everyone seems to agree that support for graphics is still not quite perfect either. So especially if you're a gamer, then these machines are probably not quite ready for you just yet, but overall these machines actually look fantastic, and I can't wait to try them myself. Fun fact, the analyst Ming-Chi Kuo has suggested that Qualcomm is also working on a low-cost Snapdragon X processor for PCs priced between $599 and $799, so that would mean an even broader portfolio. Apparently those chips would only come out in Q4 of 2025, so more than a year away from now, but yeah, overall Windows on ARM does seem to be real. I'm really happy. And just as switching from x86 to ARM finally seems possible, my third story of the week is that the thing that is coming after ARM, called RISC-V, seems to be coming to laptops now too. Pretty exciting. Okay, so the headline is that Framework, the makers of modular laptops, have announced a new RISC-V mainboard in partnership with Deep Computing, which is designed for their Laptop 13 model and will feature a RISC-V chip elegantly called the Star 5 JH7110. Okay, so that's a lot of jargon, but here's what that actually means. RISC-V is a chip instruction set architecture, just like ARM and x86. But RISC-V is an open ISA, so anyone can use it, unlike the other two, which are proprietary and need to be licensed. It's the Linux of chips. Many people think that RISC-V is the future, and especially Chinese companies are fan of this concept because they don't like to have to rely on American and British licenses that they might be cut off from in the future. Plus, anyone who thinks that open systems in general are a good thing likes these too. So Star5 is a Chinese company that made the specific chip that is in this board, and then a company called Deep Computing, who has made a very basic laptop out of it in the past, made this new board in partnership with Framework so that this can just slot into an existing Framework laptop. And the board will apparently be demoed to real people as early as next week. So we're still pretty far away from mainstream laptops running on RISC-V chips, but this is a really big step into that direction. Okay, moving on to the brief, Windows 11 will now let you send files and links to Android directly from your native Windows 11 share menu using the Phone Link app. That is a feature that I personally have written a feedback request for in the Feedback Hub, so I take full personal responsibility for this. You're welcome. Next, Ilya Sutskever, one of the co-founders of OpenAI, who has left the company about a month ago, has just launched a new AI company called Safe Superintelligence. This comes after continuous allegations of Sam Altman increasingly prioritizing profits over basically everything else. Then, in opposite news, Proton, the maker of privacy-first apps, has announced that it will adopt a non-profit foundation model, which means more legal certainty that they won't sell out later on. Very cool, and the company has also just announced that they now support photo backups on iOS 2, so maybe they're worth a try. Then Apple reportedly suspended working on the Vision Pro 2 as it turned out to be too expensive and cumbersome. Instead, the company has decided to focus on cheaper versions of the product next. I bet Zuckerberg is in some corner right now yelling, "I told you so, Apple!" Moving on, EV maker Fisker has just announced that it is out of cash and is filing for bankruptcy. The company released exactly one car and then went bankrupt almost right away. Oh boy, making cars is a really tough business. And the opposite story played out with Nvidia this week, where Big Green finally overtook Microsoft to become the most valuable company in the world. That is crazy growth. Moving on, a vote on an absolutely insane chat control law in the EU was supposed to happen this week, which would have potentially meant companies having to scan all of your messages for child sex abuse materials, including encrypted ones, but thankfully the vote didn't get a majority and was indefinitely postponed. Hallelujah. And also in good legal news, the US sued Adobe over hidden fees and for making it difficult to cancel your subscriptions. I personally don't think that Adobe's cancellation flow is particularly bad, but any lawsuit that will get scummy companies to be less scummy is a win in my book. And moving on to our release monitor, Logitech announced a bunch of new accessories, with the most interesting one being a digital stylus for the Meta Quest headset. It's called the MX Ink. I guess it's supposed to help you draw finely or something like that. And it's niche, but a pretty cool idea, I guess. Also this week, Nikon, I guess, released the Z6 Mark III, which is a $2,500 camera that comes with the world's first partially stacked sensor. This is a hybrid solution where the sensor is much faster than those that are not stacked at all, but also noticeably cheaper than those that are fully stacked, and the reviews that I found really seem to love this middle ground. Then in phone news, Oppo is finally officially back in Germany, and their brand new Reno 12 Pro is their first phone that they launched in the market again. It's a pretty typical upper mid-ranger full of AI features, but yay for competition. Then in funny/sad news, the Realme GT60 also got launched this week, and it's a really aggressively priced phone, but the unexpected part is that apparently an entire shipment of Realme GT6 phones was stolen on their way to Spain. Ouch. And continuing in weird announcements, the X-Real Beam Pro is a new companion for X-Real smart glasses, and it's basically a $200 Android device, I guess, that is not meant to become your phone, but is instead custom made to power the glasses and to somehow turn Play Store apps into 3D experiences via USB-C, while also featuring 2 offset cameras for 3D images. Kinda weird. Yeah, rarely do I see one of these futuristic devices and just like within a split second think to myself, yeah, that is probably not it. That is not the future. And I think this one is, it looks like one of those. And in even more quirky stuff, Panasonic's second generation Toughbook 40 is now also live for those who want the machine that Windows Central calls the king of the rugged laptop world, all for the low price of $4,699. It's a steal. Now, do you think being an engineer gets issued one of these $4,000 laptops to like climb a wind turbine or something sounds like a good job? If yes, then check out Brilliant. It's an online learning platform that teaches you to think like an engineer so you can eventually become one as well. They have a ton of STEM courses that cover maths, physics, chemistry, computer science, and more. You have whole learning paths that start at beginner levels and take you all the way to advanced concepts like machine learning, large language models, and more. And all of the courses are designed so that the big concepts are broken down into many smaller learnings, and then those are practiced right away with interactive tests to make sure that you practice and fully understand what you've just learned. Not only is this just way more fun than simply reading a book or something, it's also proven to help you retain the knowledge much better. And if you want a recommendation, I particularly like their course on how LLMs or large language models work. I actually use this as research for one of my upcoming videos. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/TFC or click on the link in the description. You will also get 20% off an annual premium subscription if you choose to get one. So happy learning, and I'll see you next Friday.